Great. So now we have many of the people that already joined for the webinar. So let's start. We will have a Q&A later. If someone missed something at the beginning, we can go through it again, and this will be uploaded to our networks. Let me see. So co-investing in Spain and Portugal. We would like to talk about Iberia today and why we think it's a great location for short-term rental opportunities. Today we have three speakers, my co-founder Álvaro Marcos from HOMAD, and we are very lucky that we have today Chema with us. It was completely out of the blue because we end up, Chema and me end up being on the same island this week because we both like to take our holidays at the end of the summer. And we were talking about other things, and we told him about the webinar we were running today. And there is, if I can think on property management, there is no one as Alterhomes and Chema that could bring us a fresh view of the industry.
Always happy to be here, Eliseo. Right now in some nice water in Formentera and talking about vacation rental and investment, it's something I love. So great to be here.
Álvaro, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Álvaro, as Eli said. I'm an engineer. I've been 20 years in real estate, selling and building houses for the high-end and international markets, mainly all over Spain. And the last year and a half, we've been doing setting up investment vehicles for clients. So that's what we've been doing.
So the agenda, we are going to talk about why we think Iberia is a great location. Then we are going to go through some of the challenges and how can we solve those challenges and how can we help our clients to solve those challenges. And we will close with a recap and a Q&A session where all of you can ask our experts anything that you want. So why Iberia? Why Spain and Portugal we think is a great location? Well, let's start with when we talk about short-term rental, the first thing that comes to our mind are tourists and people traveling and enjoying and living the lifestyle. Well, if we look into tourism numbers in 2022, Iberia, Spain and Portugal combined was the first country globally. We have over 100 million tourists coming to the country, to both countries, and that's around 11%. And yes, the next country is France, and third one would be USA. USA, with the size of the country, has only half of the tourists that Spain and Portugal has together combined every year. So I couldn't think of a better place in terms of short-term rental, the place and the location where more tourists globally travel every year. And when we look at the locations where the travels come from, yeah, it's true that we have a lot of Europeans because of proximity, around 60 million Europeans, around 20 million British came last year to Spain and Portugal. There is one every fourth British came just in 2022. But also a key point is that recently many Americans from the big Americas, both North America, Latin America, are constantly coming to Iberia. We were going through an article from Forbes a month ago that was telling how Madrid, for example, is the new Miami. How many Mexicans, many Venezuelans, many people from Latin America that typically used to go to Miami to invest, to enjoy, to go shopping, now they prefer to come to Iberia. And this is a trend that is here to stay. It's not only for the location, also the government is understood this and is supporting the industry. We are talking about 14%, nearly 15% of the GDP come from tourism. And this is an industry that has no chimneys. So it's on the agenda of the regulators, both in Spain and in Portugal. 14% of the jobs are created on this industry. So it's something that is here to remain and that the government is going to be in our side. Álvaro, we couldn't hear you.
Oh yeah. I know. I have unplugged the sound. Yeah, that these numbers are not casual because all these tourists, what they're finding in Spain is, well, some are coming for the lifestyle, the outdoor culture, and the stay up late culture that we have here in Spain. Others are coming to enjoy the food or to visit the cultural heritage or the architecture. Others come from a bit of everything. But In Iberia, what they find is over 300 days of sunshine a year, which is something that you don't find everywhere. And so you've got a lot of time, a lot of very little seasonality to enjoy the whole country. And also, it's a very small country because you've got like 12 hours. The longest drive you can do in Iberia is like 12 hours, and you've got airports in every main city. You've got more kilometers of high-speed train than the USA, again, in a very small country. So it's very easy to go from one place to another. And it's a very diverse country in the leisure sense of things, because you've got skiing, you've got beaches, Mediterranean beaches, you've got Atlantic beaches. So people that tends to make the stays in Iberia longer. People stay 2 days here and then they catch a train and 2 days over there, and people can enjoy this country in a very safe environment because we've got the universal healthcare for everyone. So if you fall sick, you're going to be taken care of for free. There's no guns on the streets. You can walk in the worst neighborhood in Spain, and statistically, nothing is going to happen to you. So that's what's drawing all of these people to the country. Yeah. Okay, so now we've talked about why Iberia. Let's talk about why short-term rentals. Short-term rentals is a booming industry. Right now, we're taking a look at figures just for the lodging industry in short-term rental housing. Okay, so there's no hotels here. So in 2022, we could be still speaking of a post-COVID effect. So the 2 billion euro revenue of these small housing units that are used in short-term rental, the growth of 27% over 2021 could still be explained by a post-COVID uh, adjustment. Okay, but the projected revenue in 2023 is over 3 billion. It's a 66% above 2021. This industry is absolutely booming because of the explanations we've given before, and the average revenue per user that people are getting in these hotels is around 100 euros a night. So there you see it, 302 euros usually per 3 nights stay in each location. So that will be around 100 euros a night. I don't know, Chema, if from Alterhome you find these figures. Have you seen this peak in the industry? Could you share some
No,
of it?
definitely, Alvaro. According to what you're saying, actually, on top of that, something very important is that well, travel as a whole, it's been growing over 5% for the past 11 years, and it's projected to be continue to grow over 6% for the next 8 more years, which is a huge growth. No, if we focus on short-term rental, just imagine this. So around 5 years ago, 3 people out of 10 people will stay in a travel around, will stay in short-term rentals apartments. Booking.com projected that in 2025, 51 out of 100 people, which means the majority of people who travel, will stay in vacation rental. We also need to consider, huh?
That's almost double of the actual numbers.
And it's more than hotels for the first time in history, first bigger than hotels. No, now we are usually called the alternative accommodation. I don't think we are going to be ever called that again because we're going to be bigger than hotels. But what also shows is way more flexible, because you need to just imagine how people are living today. No, people are traveling, working from different places. For example, just Eliseo and I, we just met here in Formentera, and we are traveling while working and so on. And so when you do this type of lifestyle, you don't rent hotels. So that's why investing in short-term rental is a very clever way to invest, because it's, in one way, you will make more revenue out of these apartments. If you compare it with traditional loans, say, for example, you buy an apartment just to rent it for long periods, rather than short-term rental. If you buy the same apartment for short-term rental, if you bought it right, you will make from 20 to 30 or to 35% extra doing nothing because a short-term rental management company can do it for you. And on the same time, you can be enjoying yourself on that holiday home whenever you feel like it.
It's funny that you say that because on our next slide we were talking about why short-term rentals are a better investment. So you were talking about the higher yields, right? The higher yields than other real estate investment. So that's exactly one of the points we were making. Because it's real estate, you've got money every month or every year because of the rental activity, and then you can have the asset appreciation that you'll get after 5 to 8 years. So you get a double stream of revenue in comparison with maybe other financial assets. And as you said before, you were talking about buying it right. So it's really, really important to buy it right in a prime location to get high occupancy and therefore a higher yield. And it's also important to have it professionally managed, as you were saying, with companies like Alterhome, because you can, if not, you can get a hit on that occupancy if the commercialization is not right. And on the
also,
other hand,
Alvaro,
yes,
also, as you said, and it's very important, and that's something I love about you guys at HOMAD, that is not only to buy it right in terms of location, but also in terms of the quality of the building and the quality of the status quo, the way it is. For example, I've seen some of your portfolio that you guys have in Malaga, is the last thing I saw. And you bought something very interesting because you bought something that, as it was okay, but with the work that you guys are going to do, is going to be much better. And that is key. No, buying stuff in a very low price and in a prime location is easy to say, very, very difficult to do. I know it's been a very hard work for you guys. I mean, you couldn't take vacation until today. So but that's something very important for anybody who is thinking about buying a short-term rental property. It's not only about buying the right place, the right location, but also the right price, right?
also the right location also makes it a safer investment because but in real estate it's a very used phrase, but location. No, when things go wrong, the prime locations get hit less and recover a lot earlier than secondary or tertiary location. And if you compare it maybe with financial investments, having an underlying real estate asset uh, makes the marginal value of the investment way above zero, which is the marginal value of a financial asset. So safe investment and higher yield. We always say that the risk to yield ratio in short-term rental investment is very good.
So let's drive through some of the challenges because we talked to some of them. It's not easy to find these opportunities and to operate them. So the first one is regulation. Short-term rental is a great opportunity, but on the last years we have seen that regulations change in many cities. So the first challenge that anyone investing on this kind of opportunities is, okay, what is the current, which country are we targeting, and inside the country, which cities? Right now we are drilling into Portugal and Spain, and depending on the city, regulation has been changing recently. For example, in Barcelona, there was a waiver that stopped new licenses for short-term rental for the past years. In Madrid, you need to have specific access to the street. So depending on the city, there is a lot of work to do in terms of regulation, because what you don't want is to invest a lot of money on an asset that you think is going to be great, and afterwards the regulation stops you from getting your deals. Also in sourcing, this is not just for short-term rentals, it's finding the right asset. As Chema was saying, it's not just finding the city, it's finding the right price. Because in real estate, most of it is buying on the right price. If you buy at the right price, there is always ways to fix some potential problems coming in the future. But if you buy too expensive, it's super difficult to make it work after that. So the most important decision is, or one of the most important decisions is, what are you going to buy at which price and where it's going to be? Negotiation, finding it, and doing the right due diligence. Then the next challenging is transforming the asset, because many of these great opportunities, you either need to rebuild the flat or the property, or even change the use. You buy a commercial real estate, or you buy a building that used to be a a student house and you change it into a hotel. So all these transformations need a lot of work in terms of development, but also in terms of design and regulation. You need to get the right permits and everything in place. Then the property management. To get the kind of deals that we can get with short-term rental is super demanding. And I don't know if, Chema, you want to talk about it? Because
Sure. Well, at the end of the day, this is a business that it requires little, that has very little frontiers or barriers for everybody to jump in. And people might think, well, you know, I have a house cleaning lady. She can do the beds, and she can make beds, and anything else can be done automatically. And it's no, I mean, it's very easy to list your properties on Booking.com, on Airbnb. Everybody does that. But to make the most out of each property, each single day, in every booking, it takes a lot of work. It takes work from maintenance, from decorating the property, to commercializing well, to do the revenue management thing, to provide a great experience for travelers, for homeowners as well, for neighbors, and keep it out on the budget so you don't spend more than you are making. It's quite difficult. We are seeing many companies being focused on providing a professional service through property owners and through guests. And at the end of the day, I think that provides the edge on the yield that you need. No, I must say that I really recommend to provide to manage your property in a professional way. It could be done by you as an individual, or it could be done by a property management company such as Alterhomes, that we provide short-term rental services around a few countries. We talk to all property owners, and we help them to maximize their income by us managing the properties on their behalf, and we rent it through days or by months to travelers around the whole world. And if you want to have the edge to provide to receive a high occupancy while having also a nice minimum ticket per day, how much money people are paying to stay in your property, you need to provide excellency, because at the same time, as we said before, that the vacation rental industry is growing and is taking more space from the hotel industry, travelers are expecting every single day more and more and more. So you need to do that in a professional way. And that's the only way that's going to work if you want to have a nice yield on your investment.
Well, it also works both sides. It's not only the hassle of managing you personally with all the time, but it's also the track record, because you buy a great apartment, but if you mess around with your track record, with the service you provide to your clients, and you get bad ratings, you are going to destroy the asset you already acquired.
Definitely. A bad review, it's very painful economically.
And lately, the challenges is the exit strategy. We saw everything for buying the property and managing, but exiting the property, how are you going to sell it? How commercialization could be also a challenge to get the best yield in overall the whole opportunity. So this you can manage yourself and you can run it yourself, or you can leverage on others to get into this business. So HOMAD offers you the capability to join an investment club that focuses in short-term rentals. Right now we are talking about Iberia. We will be in other cities, but we thought this is one of the best locations to start. And what do we offer? The first one is that we are a co-investment club. We have like-minded people, many of them from the MBA world, that join together to be able to acquire assets. Then we will manage for you the asset. So you will have a dual profit from the yield every quarter from renting your property, and for the increase of value that your property is getting year after year until we sell it. For you, it's going to be hassle-free, because we will take care directly or through our partners. For example, in property management, we come with the best people, as you can see. And by the end of the day, you just need to invest your money, have exposure to real estate, and enjoy it. Enjoy it from the deals, or even enjoy it if you want to visit the property. We have a special program for owners that could have discounts to stay in their own properties, but we will talk about that other day. Why co-investment? That was the first point. Why co-investment could be an opportunity? Well, co-investment is, in a sense, investing with other people to buy an asset. And the first point why this could be an advantage is because it lowers the barriers to entry. Typically, real estate needs a lot of money, especially now with the high interest rates and the banks closing the loans. Many of the new opportunities are full equity, So if you want to buy a property and invest in real estate, you need hundreds of thousands or millions of euros or dollars to be able to just to have exposure to this asset class. Well, co-investing and joining other people lower these barriers and give you the capability to have a portfolio of investments. You can have and keep, as you should have, your financial investments or your stocks and other kind of investments, but with a lower ticket, you can access maybe your first investment on real estate. That is drive us to diversification. You will manage to have your finance investment, but also your real estate investment. Also risk mitigation, because as the ticket is low, you will manage to have exposure to different cities. Instead of putting all your equity in just one property in one location, you can decide, okay, I like this country or I like this region or even like this city, but instead of being 100% exposed to one property, you can put a smaller tickets, and you should, in different locations. This way you will diversify your risk. Also, you will mitigate the risk because you are co-investing with other people like you. So if there is an opportunity that you think that it could be great, but you are not sure, having the support of a team of investors that have the same view on it will reinforce your view that you are doing something right, something good. Co-investing also allows you to access bigger tickets that you could personally or as a retail investor, and these give us access to institutional class assets that typically are too big for retail investors, are not even in the traditional channels like Silo or Idealista. If we are talking about Iberia, these big assets or these buildings are not coming to the retail channel, but merging with other investors, we can have access to that kind of assets that typically have a bigger yield and a lower risk than the traditional assets you can find as a retail investor. And lately, the efficient operations. You have volume, you have a professional managed team, you have a property manager that will do the right work for you. So that will provide efficiency and on the long run, better yields for your investment. Well, this has been all. I hope you enjoyed. I can see that we have already some questions. Okay, the first one with Antonio Dano. Which city could you say is the one of the best cities to invest right now? Why and thanks. So, from my point of view, we are looking a lot into Lisbon, Malaga, Madrid recently. Lisbon because of the growth that experienced in the last years, many thanks to the golden visa, to the nomad visa, to the openness that they have. Many people move not only from Europe but also from Canada, from United States to spend the winter in Lisbon, or to have another property, or to have the door into Europe. So they buy a house in Portugal, in Lisbon. They rent it on Airbnb and they travel through the country. So we like a lot Lisbon. We like a lot Malaga right now. For the same reasons, Malaga has an amazing growth over the past years. Has more than 120 days of sun every year. You can arrive to Malaga by vessel, by train, high-speed train, by amazing network of motorways. Direct flights to London more than from Madrid, direct flight to New York. So also a great city. And there are many others that we will be discovering. I don't know if you have any other view, Chema?
Well, in Europe, for sure, I would say, since we launched Alterhome in Venice and in Mexico, that in Mexico, as we have actually discussed a couple of times, there are great opportunities as well. But if today we are focusing on Iberia, you just pointed out 3 of the top destinations ever, and also San Sebastian for a short-term rental point of view, which is quite difficult to get license off. But if you could, it's an amazing revenue.
Okay, some of you are asking all the same, like, okay, how can you have access to our assets? So the first thing you should do is join our club. So we are an investment club, and once you join the club through the web, there is a waiting list, but some groups have direct access. For example, if you are part of the of the one of the MBAs that we have on the web, you have a direct access directly. But otherwise, John, on the web, you will get access to the club, and we will be posting, and you will have access to the opportunities as they release. We are handpicking the opportunities we will launch in September. So in the next couple of weeks, you will see something in Malaga that we are about to launch, and after that, we will be posting all the opportunities inside the club. So join the club, you will receive information. You will see this webinar and other information on how to invest, but also you will see the deals we are working on. Another question from Elizabeth. Hello, guys. I have a question. What is the average annual return on investment for short-term rental properties in these markets? Thank you. What is your view, Chema, from your clients that they invest directly? What is the range of yield that they can get on Iberia?
Well, it depends obviously on how and when you bought it. But we usually, depending on the city, we are seeing in Madrid, which is very, very competitive, as you know. In Madrid, you can aim 6-7%. It's extremely good. In Malaga, I've seen over 10% in some cases, and I think you guys have one portfolio with a very nice return on investment, no?
We are looking right now at opportunities that yield, depending on the kind of asset, between 8 to 12%. So we are not looking into anything below 8%, and up to, we feel very comfortable. I mean, if there is something that gives us more than 12%, welcome. But to have a sustainable pipeline of opportunities, we are focusing on this bracket between 8 to 12% annual return.
Which is very, very, very good and very difficult to get because you are talking about prime cities in Europe, so it's not easy to find.
Yeah, and we are always talking prime location, urban location, so we avoid seasonality. So it's something that is always all year around is going to be rented, and we only look into prime locations because we have to be able to have liquidity. So if you buy prime, if there is a downturn and you need to sell, you could have a bigger or lower discount, but you could sell very quickly. It will be always be liquid, while other destinations cannot say the same.
Definitely. One tip we will give from an investment point of view before we jump into the water because it's quite hot in the boat is when you buy the asset, always look at it as if you're going to rent it long term. If numbers work out for you well with that focus, then you should buy because worst case scenario, if things go down, if another COVID, things forbid, comes along or so on, you always have that opportunity, no? And if that provides the enough cash revenue, then you're good to go because if you can rent it short term, you're gonna maximize your income.
Good. I think this has been all. Thank you everyone for joining. Special thanks to Chema.
To you.
That came to visit me for a second.
Great what you guys are doing.
I managed to invite him to the call. And thank you, Alvaro.
Thank you very much, guys.
Have a great day. Goodbye.
Take care, guys. Bye.